Hi everyone, this is Allison. I wanted to do a video on my homemade dog food. I had mentioned that I make it in one of my grocery hauls and I had a request for this video. So I thought I would go ahead and get it taken care of since we're almost out of our reserves that we have in the freezer. So these are all the items that you'll need, including a large stock pot or soup pot. We also, you might want to cut this recipe in half if you have just one smaller dog, because I have two larger dogs and I just make a large batch. That way it'll last us a little longer. These are the items you'll need. You'll need some ground chicken, or you can also use ground turkey. Sometimes I mix ground chicken and ground turkey, but my dogs have sensitive stomachs, so ground chicken just seems to work for us a little better. Again, if you have a smaller dog, you can just use one of these packages since I cut the rest of the ingredients in half as well. You'll also need some brown rice, long grain brown rice. In a pinch, I've used instant brown rice and it really was okay. I mean, it is just dog food, so it was a little mushier because you cook it for a longer period of time, and with the instant rice, it did make it a little mushier. But just some regular old brown rice. We're going to do 4 cups of that. You'll need 12 cups of water, which I have here already prepared. And then you'll need some various frozen vegetables. Really, I just kind of use whatever I have in my freezer. I've had these edamame in my freezer for a while. They're a little older. So, and then I just have some green beans and some carrots. So that's what I'm going to be using this time around. I have used peas and corn and things like that. The corn really just kind of goes through their system, so I only used it because I had it in the freezer, but green beans and carrots are some of their favorites. I have used different squash and broccoli and cauliflower as well. It does make them a little gassier, so I tend to just kind of stick with the things that I know work for them. So you can adjust it according to your dog's likes and dislikes. So first off, I'm just going to turn on the pot. And you just want to keep it at a high temperature. I'm going to go ahead and pour in the water. So that was 4 cups. And here's the additional 8 cups. So again, it's 12 cups of water. It's kind of a large measuring cup there. Okay, so we have our 12 cups of water. Now I went ahead and cut these packages open, and I'm just going to put them in the water. Just dump them straight in the water, clearly take off the paper and stuff, and then I'm going to wash my hands and I'll come back. Okay, I've dumped the chicken into the pot, and as you can see, it's a little broken up. You just want to stir it until it breaks up completely. My chicken was just a little frozen still, so it'll break up though occasionally. Now you want to gather your 4 cups of brown rice and go ahead and put that in the pot. It will help to break up the chicken a little more, so that way it'll all cook evenly and break up nice and small for your dog. So I'll come back once I've put the 4 cups of brown rice into the pot. Okay, this is the final cup of brown rice. So I've now put 4 cups of brown rice into the pot. As I said, I'm just going to continue to stir this and break it up, as good as I can. The brown rice does help. The texture of it kind of helps to break up the chicken a little bit. So you just continue until that's all broken up nice and good. Okay, now I have my ground chicken and rice mixture pretty well mixed up. There are a few larger pieces of chicken still because it was a little frozen, as I said, but for the most part it's all mixed up nicely, and the sizes are where they should be. You can just keep stirring it if there are some larger pieces of chicken, and it'll break up. Now you want to bring this to a boil, And once we bring it to a boil, we're going to cover it and turn it down to medium, medium-low, and simmer it for an additional 20 minutes or so until the rice has absorbed most of the liquid. There should be about a quarter cup or so of excess liquid, which will soak up in the last 10 to 15 minutes of cooking time. Now once this comes to a boil, I'll go ahead and come back to you guys, and we'll put the lid on it and simmer it. Okay, my chicken and rice have now come to a boil, as you can see. There will be some foaming on the top. I think it's just from the chicken, to be honest with you. I'm not really sure why that happens, but it does foam up and gets kind of funky, but it's okay. Just stir it in, and it'll dissipate after everything has boiled. Now that it's come to a boil, we want to turn it down to like medium-low or so, you know, just so it will, more on the medium side than the low side, just so it will simmer. And you want to go ahead and cover it and just let that go ahead and simmer for about 20 minutes or so. You know, depending on your stove, it's going to vary, but really you just want it to cook, let the rice absorb the majority of the water. As I said, you'll only want about a quarter of a cup of water or so left in there, just enough so it still needs to cook for another 10 or 15 minutes, so we can go ahead and add in the frozen vegetables. So after it's simmered for a while, I'll come back and we'll add in the frozen vegetables. Okay, so as I said, you're going to want to bring this all, you know, to a simmer, cook it all down, and then there's about, you know, a quarter inch or so of liquid left on the top of the pot. I don't know, it's probably about a cup of liquid or so. And then you want to go ahead and dump in your frozen vegetables. So as I have green beans, and I have carrots, and I have some edamame. Like I said, the edamame has been in there for quite some time. You can use whatever vegetables you want to, or you find out that your dog likes. Sorry, Fisher's eating, so you go ahead and just incorporate those into the mixture, stir them in really well, and then you're going to want to let this cook for an additional like 10 to 15 minutes, just until really the vegetables thaw out and cook a little bit. You know, they don't really have to be super mushy, because they'll still cook a little bit in the container. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back when it's time to put them into the containers. Okay, so as you can see, everything's been incorporated and is cooked properly. So now we're just going to go ahead and put everything into containers. I prefer to use these, I think they're like soup containers from either Chinese takeout, or we have a Wegmans near us that we go to, and they have these at the Olive Bar that you put all your, you know, olives and feta and stuff in. So I use these. It's just easier for me, but you can use whatever containers you want. And I just go ahead and start to fill the containers. There's no real science to this. You just fill it. The only thing I will say that I've learned over the years of doing this is once you get to the top, you want to make sure that you give yourself a little bit of room for expansion. Once these freeze, they will expand a little bit, so you can't fill it to the tip top. But if you fill it, you know, to leave yourself about a quarter of an inch at the top, half an inch at the top, and that should be fine. So I go ahead and fill these. They're still pretty hot. You can see the steam kind of coming up, but I just kind of leave the lids off for a minute and then go ahead and put the lids on and put them in the freezer. So we'll go ahead and fill the rest of these up. That is the dog food recipe. And like I said, you can definitely adjust it to suit your needs and your dog's needs depending on the size of your dog. This costs about $10, give or take, depending on how much the products that I showed you in the beginning of the video cost you in your area. For us, it's about $10 or so for a double batch of the size that I made today. And it lasts us about 3 weeks. We feed them a quarter cup of this wet food mixed with a quarter cup of dry food twice a day. So they get a full cup of food a day. So it's half a cup of this wet food a day, and it lasts about 3 weeks or so. So depending on how much you use of it, but it does cut down on our dry food costs. You know, this only being $10 incorporated with that. You know, we use a better, we're able to pay for a better food because it lasts us a little longer. So if you have any questions, definitely leave a comment for me, and I'll try and get back to you right away. I hope that this being my first recipe video, I hope that I included everything that you were hoping to see, and I appreciate you coming to check it out. I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of these containers and get it in the freezer, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye!